Hey everyone, Jar of Tar here, creature analyst for Sonar Studios and stat lead for Creatures of Sonaria. Today I've got something pretty exciting to show off. Before we begin, some of our more keen stat enjoyers may have noticed a sneaky little addition that slipped into last update. For everyone else, consider this your official introduction, or perhaps reintroduction, to a returning ailment. Radiation. Radiation is not technically brand new to Creatures of Sonaria. It has actually existed in a bit of a strange limbo since the game's recode. In Legacy, however, radiation was present, but not in a unique way. Functionally, it was closer to a reskinned version of Legacy's poison, without a strong identity of its own or a distinct role in the wider meta. Because of that, radiation never really had the space to become its own thing. With this new version, we wanted to revisit the concept and give it a clear gameplay purpose, stronger visual identity, and a more recognizable place among the game's other ailments. So, what does radiation actually do? At a high level, radiation is designed as an ailment acceleration tool. Its main purpose is to help deal with creatures that have heavy ailment blocks. Rather than being more of a damage-focused ailment like burn or bleed, radiation is meant to soften targets up, making them more vulnerable to other forms of ailment pressure, not too dissimilar to corrosion. In simple terms, radiation helps other ailments stack. If a creature is normally difficult to stack with poison, frostbite, bleed, or other similar effects, radiation gives these kits a way to push through those defenses more effectively. This helps create more room for ailment-focused creatures in the meta, especially against matchups where their ailment pressure might otherwise be heavily reduced. Don't worry about your poor tanks too much, however. Radiation scales incredibly slowly. Its value only becomes of concern at higher amounts, meaning dedicated radiation stackers must work hard and play smart to reap its full benefit. In addition, radiation block is also being implemented, which will further reduce the speed at which the ailment stacks on a per creature basis. Radiation has one more important mechanic attached to it. While its direct damage is intentionally a small unscaling percent-based amount, that damage can become more dangerous when multiple irradiated targets are standing near each other. Irradiated creatures should not stand within close proximity of each other, as they will suffer the same damage twofold again and again for every irradiated creature nearby. Players must spread out, create space, and avoid letting the radiation damage stack up between nearby targets. This creates especially unique positioning challenges, even more so in group combat situations. Alongside the gameplay side of radiation, we also wanted to make sure it had a strong visual and auditory presentation. Visually, radiation is meant to feel unstable, hazardous, and distinctly unnatural. It stands out from existing green ailments like poison and disease. You will notice radioactive particles flying off and decaying into nothing, energy bursts, light fields, and other effects depending on how a creature applies it. The audio design follows the same idea. Radiation is the only ailment in the game to feature a unique Geiger counter sound effect that ramps up in intensity as it stacks. Because, of course it does. That's a requirement for radiation. It's worth noting that radiation is not being handed out at random. It is being used carefully and strategically on a handful of creatures where it supports either their gameplay identity, their theme, or both. Some creatures will use it defensively, some will use it through abilities, and some will use it as a part of broader kit updates arriving this week. As always, values may continue to change as we gather more data. The secret test run gave us a strong starting point, but live gameplay is always the real test. We will be watching how radiation performs, how readable it feels, and whether its counterplay is clear enough for players on both sides of the fight. So keep an eye out, listen for the telltale click, and most importantly, if you start glowing, maybe don't stand too close to your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Sonaria.